and other molecules. Now, the food that we take in will be broken down into glucose, like carbohydrate food. Excuse me. So carbohydrate food will be broken down into glucose. Then this glucose will be converted to pyruvic acid. So that's what I want to learn under this cellular respiration. I hope you are following me. So food alone is not usable energy. It must be converted into ATP. So that's the energy currency of the cell. ATP stores high energy in its high energy phosphate bonds, and it releases when it is being broken into ADP, adenosine diphosphate. So this released energy drive all cellular activities such as muscle contraction, nerve impulse transmission, active transport, and biosynthesis of macromolecules. So as I've said earlier, cellular respiration is not the same thing as breathing. So breathing just means inhaling and exhaling air, while cellular respiration is the breakdown of glucose inside cell to release energy. So let's look at the importance of cellular respiration. We have the energy production. So cellular respiration provides energy to power cellular functions. So that's why when we are talking about mitochondria, how many of you know mitochondria? So how many of you know mitochondria? So that is present in what? In cell organelles. So both plant cell and animal cell. So its function is the site for cellular respiration. So mitochondria is the site for what? Cellular respiration. Why breathing in and breathing out? That one happens in the lungs. So whenever we are talking about cellular respiration, we'll be talking about what? Mitochondria. So this is where energy is being produced. So, and the energy is being stored as what? ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Another importance of cellular respiration is that it functions in growth and repair. That is, it supplies raw energy for building new cells, healing wounds, and protein synthesis. That is, it repair one out tissue. So it also repair one out tissue. So the transport work, that is, in active transport, we have the sodium potassium pump. So in active transport, and also it also aid provide energy for muscle contraction, cilia, flagella for movement in unicellular organism. Also regulates body temperature in some warm-blooded animals. Now let's go to the type of cellular respiration we have. Some cellular respiration is classified based on the presence or absence of oxygen. So if the cellular respiration occur in the presence of oxygen, so that will be referred to as aerobic respiration. So that will be referred to as aerobic respiration. That is the type of cellular respiration that occurs in the presence of oxygen. Now, this aerobic respiration is a complete breakdown of glucose using oxygen. Complete breakdown of glucose using oxygen. So after the glucose have been broken down, it will produce energy of large amounts like 36 to 38 ATP per glucose. And this takes place mainly in the mitochondria. I've told you that before. So cellular respiration takes place in the mitochondria. Mitochondrion is the singular while mitochondria is the plural. So after this aerobic respiration, the energy have been produced. So the waste products are, we are going to see some waste products like carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide which should be exhaled through the lung, and water which will be used or excreted. This is the equation for aerobic respiration. This is glucose and this is oxygen. So the glucose will combine with oxygen to give carbon dioxide which is CO2, water, and energy is being produced, 38 ATP. So why the type of cellular respiration that occur in the absence of oxygen, so is the incomplete breakdown of glucose. So anaerobic respiration, so the type of respiration that uh the breakdown, it involves the incomplete breakdown of glucose in the absence of oxygen. So incomplete breakdown of glucose in the absence of oxygen. So you can see that it produces small amount of energy compared to the anaerobic. Who can remind me how many ATP does aerobic respiration produce? How many ATP of energy?
So
Aerobic respiration, I mean aerobic. You just finished aerobic, right? Then how many ATP do we say that aerobic respiration give?
3.
No. Are you following me? Look at, we see 36 to 38 ATP here, and in the equation of aerobic respiration, we have what? 38 ATP. That's the energy. I will just finish this now. So it is anaerobic respiration that produces what? 2 ATP per glucose. So aerobic respiration occur where? Aerobic respirations occur where?
Mitochondria.
Mitochondria. So while anaerobic respiration occurs in the nucleus. And who can tell me what and what combine in aerobic respiration equation? The reactant and the product. Equation for aerobic respiration. What and what we combine together? Anyone? Okay, what is cellular respiration? What is cellular respiration? We are not going to continue if you not tell me. Oh.
The breaking down of glucose to form energy.
Perform energy. So, what is the equation for aerobic respiration? From the word aerobic. What does it mean? Aerobic. In the presence of oxygen, right?
Yes, sir.
Then it will
Yes, sir.
combine. What will oxygen combine with? Glucose now, Abby. So this is
Yes.
glucose I want to break down. Then we have C6H12O6. That's glucose. Combine independence of what? Oxygen, because it is aerobic respiration. We now say that C6H12O6 plus O2. Then it will give us what? So what and what will be produced at the product side? Firstly, we are going to have the what? The CO2. which is carbon dioxide. You're also going to have what after CO2? After carbon dioxide, you are going to have a what? Okay, I'm coming. If you react this and this, Bisha did chemistry. C6 H12 O6 plus O2. This will give you what?
CO2 plus water.
CO2 plus H2O. So, and what will be produced again?
ATP.
Energy. Energy stored in form, energy stored as what? ATP. How many ATP? 38 ATP. So go and learn the equation. So and you balance it. So you are going to balance it. You have 6 here. You have 6 here also. Please excuse me 1 minute. Now, so this is equation for what? This equation represents what?
Aerobic respiration.
Aerobic
Aerobic
respiration.
respiration.
Now, and is the complete breakdown of glucose, Abi, in presence of oxygen. So there is large amount of ATP and it occurs in mitochondria, but our opposite is the case in anaerobic respiration. This one is incomplete breakdown of glucose in the presence of what? In the absence of oxygen. So in the absence of oxygen, then it's produce more amount of energy. It occurs in the cytoplasm. So the byproducts are often toxic if they accumulate. So this is how we know it. In animals, in animals, so in muscle cells of animals. So we have uh, two ways in which anaerobic respiration can occur. Are you listening to me? We have two ways in which anaerobic respiration can occur. First one is lactic acid fermentation. Lactic acid fermentation. So this one occurs in the muscle cells of the animals. Then the second one is alcoholic fermentation. So yeast. So in yeast or plant, you can use that like yeast. It can be used to ferment bread. It's used in bread industry. It's used in like alcohol industry. So in the presence of the enzyme zymase. So yeast can is a fungi and can be used in what? Fermentation. So of alcohol or bread making. Okay. So let me talk about this animal now. Muscle cells of animal. The meaning of lactic acid formation. When when you exercise, so when you perform exercise and maybe you do vigorous activities and you not do it often, you not do it often. So maybe when you now For example, those people that used to play ball or used to do some vigorous activity, so it has now been long you did it. So when you want to do it again, when you do it, there will be something called oxygen debt. So lactic acid will have what accumulated in the muscle cell. That's when some will be complaining that I'm having muscle ache. You used to do like vigorous work. Maybe someone used to do strenuous work before. Like all these people that used to follow the bricklayer sometimes. Like when you have done it for long, eh? So you now want to do it again. So there will be what oxygen depth. So when you perform exercise sometimes and you not perform it again, so the lactic acid will have formed in the muscle cells. So you are going to have like oxygen depth. That's when you have oxygen depth. So you know this anaerobic respiration, so it's without oxygen. So you have muscle ache. So it will develop in muscle ache in animal. So and in yeast or plant that will cause alcohol fermentation, so ethanol will be produced. See that like when anything that ferment, grape if grape ferment, it will taste like the taste of alcohol. So ethanol is alcohol. So even if the you can soak, for example, maybe you soak grape in water, so it can ferment. If you soak some fruit in water, it can ferment and it will produce this alcohol. Eh? So this is glucose. It is not reacting with anything, but this glucose will just break down into what lactic acid and energy. So in the absence of oxygen, this glucose will also break down to what alcohol and CO2 plus energy. For example, now if you pour cassava inside water, you know if you pour cassava inside water, you now cover it. You have a bowl of water. You now pour water and you pour cassava, like this cassava that you harvested from farm, and you peel the body. You now put it inside water. You now close it. Is oxygen inside that bowl that you close? Is there oxygen in it? Is air entering it? No, air is not entering it. So what you do is just like you want to ferment that cassava. You want to make it ferment. Like when you now open it, sometimes like you see that it will have become softened. Okay. So and even if you taste that water, you see that like the water will taste like ethanol, alcohol. Eh? So that's what, because fermentation has already taken place. So it is kind of what respiration that occur without oxygen. So under aerobic respiration now, we have detailed stages of aerobic respiration. Like we have stages of aerobic respiration. The first one is, and each stage has specific location and their role. So the first stage of aerobic respiration is glycolysis. The second stage is what? Is pyruvate oxidation. This also refers to as a link reaction. The third stage is Krebs cycle, which is also called citric acid cycle, CAC. And the last one is electron transport chain. In some textbook, you will see it as 3 stages: glycolysis, Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle, and electron transport chain. So, but here we are going to use link reaction. So this link reaction is just a type of reaction that link glycolysis to what? To Krebs cycle. Glycolysis and Krebs cycle. So that's what the function of the link reaction. So you understand it better. Are you following me? Are you understanding it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first stage of aerobic respiration now, we have said this is the type of respiration that occur in what? In presence of oxygen. The first of this respiration is glycolysis. So, and the location of this, like the location where glycolysis occur is the cytoplasm. If I may ask you again, the aerobic respiration occur in the what? In the mitochondria, Abi. So why the anaerobic respiration occur in the what? In the cytoplasm. So, but these stages of aerobic respiration, each stage occur in different location. So you should also take note of that. So glycolysis occur in the cytoplasm. What's the meaning of glycolysis? Glycolysis is the splitting of glucose. And glucose is a cis carbon sugar, right? C6, H12, O6. How many carbon do we have in glucose? Cis, Abi. C6. How many hydrogen? 12 hydrogen. So the splitting of glucose is called glycolysis. Anything lysis, it means breakdown. Glyco is from the word glucose. So splitting of glucose is called what? Glycolysis. And what happens when this glucose splits in cytoplasm? So one glucose molecule, which is a cis carbon, is being broken down into two pyruvate molecules. So two pyruvate will contain what? 3 carbon each. Like you divided 6 by 2, what will it give you? So you divide 6 into 2, you have 3 separate and you have what? 3 separate also, right? So that two pyruvate molecule will contain 3 carbon each. Are you getting it at all? Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
So when that one molecule of glucose splits, a one glucose molecule is what? Is a 6 carbon molecule. C6, H12O6. Like if you don't understand, okay, don't worry. So the glucose is broken down into two pyruvate molecules. So I said that two pyruvate molecules will contain what? 3 carbon each. Two pyruvate. One pyruvate will contain 3 carbon. The second pyruvate will contain what? 3 carbon uh, of glucose. So now, after breaking down into two pyruvate, so you can now say that glycolysis is the splitting of glucose, that's 6 carbon sugar, into two pyruvate molecules. So, or pyruvic acid. Do you get that? So pyruvic acid is a what? Is a 3 carbon, is a 3 carbon. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after the glucose has been broken down into two pyruvate molecules, then it's produced 2 ATP. That's
Yes.
energy. So and it produce electron carrier, which is known as what? Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide plus hydrogen. That's NADH. So it produce energy in form of ATP and what? Two electron carriers. And what's the name of the electron carrier? Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide plus hydrogen. So that's NADH. Okay. So
Yes.
this stage does not require oxygen. So it
Children.
is common to both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So the second stage supposed to be Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle, but there is a link reaction between glycolysis and Krebs cycle. So that's pyruvate oxidation. When glucose break down in glycolysis, what is it going to produce? What is the key thing it's going to produce?
When what?
When glucose break down during glycolysis, what is it going to produce? What is the product, the key product, major product that is going to produce?
Pyruvate molecule. Pyruvate
Two
molecule.
pyruvate molecules. That's
Two
very good. Two
pyruvate
pyruvate
molecule.
molecules. So that is it is that pyruvate molecule that is being produced from glycolysis that want to be oxidized. You can see that the link reaction is also the same as what pyruvate oxidation. So that pyruvate molecule must be oxidized before it moves to the what Krebs cycle. That's why we have this stage 2 link reaction or pyruvate oxidation, because the pyruvate molecules can't just start Krebs cycle like that, except it is oxidized. So that's why we have what the second stage as pyruvate oxidation, which is called link reaction. It is called link reaction because glycolysis will be linked to Krebs cycle with the action of what oxidation of what the two pyruvate molecules. I hope you get that. Okay, so now let's see how the pyruvate will be oxidized. So this pyruvate oxidation occur in the mitochondrial matrix. So there's a region called matrix in the mitochondria. So mitochondrial matrix. So what happens is that each pyruvate, how many carbon does each pyruvate has? How many carbon? You know, we say that 6 carbon is divided into 2 pyruvates. Each
Yes.
have how many carbon? Each two
Three
pyruvate,
carbons.
3 carbon. So that's why we have 3 carbon here. So it's being so the each 3 pyruvate will be converted into what? Acetyl CoA. So acetyl CoA. The meaning of acetyl CoA is acetyl coenzyme.
I can't see your screen again.
I'm sorry, I had a cough. It was the call that disrupted my network. Let me share my screen. Can you hear me now? So where are we? Mm. So are you following me now? So each pyruvate which contains 3 carbon will be converted to acetyl-CoA. So it's called acetyl coenzyme. So that acetyl coenzyme is 2 carbon. It is 2 carbon. Are you following me? Are you following me? Okay. So and carbon dioxide will be released eh, during the what? During the oxidation of this. The meaning of oxidation is electron loss. In terms of electron transfer, you should have learned that in chemistry. So oxidation is electron loss, reduction reaction is electron gain. So from 3 carbon to what? To 2 carbon. That's oxidation. That's why we call it pyruvate oxidation. So carbon dioxide will be released and to also produce electron carrier, which is NADH. So the reason behind this pyruvate oxidation or link reaction is to prepare fuel for what? Krebs cycle. So for each molecules of glucose, glycolysis produce 2 pyruvate molecules. That's a carbon each. We blend that. So each pyruvate enters the mitochondrium. So in the link reaction, yeah, we are still under. So we have decarboxylation. So 1 carbon atom is removed from pyruvate and released as what? CO2. So the other remaining 2 carbon is used to make what? Acetyl-CoA, which is 2 carbon. Because you might be asked where is the remaining third carbon. So it's the one that is being released as what? CO2. And it remain 2 carbon, which is what? Acetyl-CoA. So oxidation, the remaining 2 carbon fragment is oxidized and electrons are transferred to NAD plus, forming what? NADH, nicotinamide, so dinucleotide hydrogen. Are you following me? Now we have how many carbon remaining? How many carbon are we having remaining after the link reaction, after the pyruvate oxidation?
One.
One, Bao. How is it one? How many carbon does acetyl-CoA have? How many carbon? How many carbon does acetyl-CoA have? You know I'm shouting now.
2 carbon.
2 carbon now. To
That's
be
two
converted
carbon.
to that has 2 carbon. So after the pyruvate oxidation, we have what? 2 carbon of acetyl-CoA. Can you see oxidation? The remaining 2 carbon fragment is oxidized. So because that oxidation, we let the electron are transferred to what? NAD plus, forming NADH, which is still the electron carrier. So now, since glycolysis produces 2 pyruvate molecules per glucose, the link reaction happens twice per glucose. Now, let's look at why the link reaction or pyruvate oxidation is important. So the pyruvate oxidation is the one that produces what? Acetyl-CoA, which is 2 carbon. Why it is important is that the fuel, this acetyl-CoA is the fuel needed to enter Krebs cycle. So it generates NADH, which is electron carrier. So this NADH carry electron to the electron transport chain after the Krebs cycle. Then this link reaction or pyruvate oxidation also releases CO2, which is the first waste product of respiration. So in short, all what you have been saying is that the link reaction converts pyruvate. You know, pyruvate is formed from glycolysis, Abi. 2 pyruvate molecules, Abi. So, and this pyruvate molecule, 2 pyruvate molecule will enter link reaction, which is also called pyruvate oxidation. It will now be converted into what? Acetyl-CoA, which is how many carbon? 2 carbon. So that it will be converted to acetyl-CoA so that the respiration process can continue into Krebs cycle. That means if the pyruvate is not being converted to acetyl-CoA, there's no how Krebs cycle will get the fuel that it will use. That's the importance. Okay. So then
Yes.
eventually after Krebs cycle, the last stage will be the what? ETC, electron transport chain. And that's why NADH is being generated here, so that it will carry electrons from Krebs cycle to electron transport chain to move the electron to serve as the electron carrier. I hope you understand now. So
Yes,
you should
sir.
know what is called acetyl-CoA now, pyruvate, NADH, which is electron transfer, electron carrier rather. Okay, do you get that
Yes, sir.
now? So the third stage now is the Krebs cycle, which is also referred to as citric
Citric
acid cycle.
acid cycle.
So its location now, it is the mitochondria matrix. Mitochondria matrix. So what happens in Krebs cycle? You know, it's acetyl-CoA that want to start Krebs cycle now, Abi. So this acetyl-CoA, which is 2 carbons, combines with oxaloacetate, which is 4 carbon, to form citrate, which is 6 carbon. 4 carbon plus 2 carbon, it will form how many carbon?
It will form 6 carbons.
6 carbon. So that's what citrate, Abi. So that's where we remove citric acid. Eh? Are you following? You are not following me. Oh. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I said acetyl-CoA, which is 2 carbon, we combine with oxaloacetate in Krebs cycle, which occurs in the mitochondrial matrix to form what? Citrate, which is 6 carbon. So a cycle of reactions break citrate back into oxaloacetate. How many carbon is oxaloacetate? 4 carbon, right? So a cycle of reaction will also break the citrate back into what? Oxaloacetate. Then carbon dioxide is released as a waste product. So energy carrier now, the energy carrier that is coming from the pyruvate oxidation is NADH, Abi. So the
Yes.
energy carriers. So the NADH we also combine with what? FADH, which is called flavin adenine dinucleotide hydrogen. So and a small amount of what? ATP are produced. So now let's look at product per glucose. How many ATP is produced in Krebs cycle? 2 ATP.
2
How
ATP.
how many NADH? Energy carrier 6. We also have 2
2
FADH,
FADH.
that's flavin adenine dinucleotide hydrogen, and the waste carbon dioxide that has been released as waste are what? Are 4
4.
CO. So these are the products of what? Of Krebs cycle, which is also referred to as what? Citric acid cycle. So now the last part, the last stage of this aerobic respiration is electron transport chain. Electron transport chain, which is called ETC, and oxidative phosphorylation. So this one occur in the inner mitochondrial membrane, which is called cristae. So Krebs cycle occur in the mitochondrial matrix. So electron transport chain occur in the what? In the inner membrane, which is called cristae. In the inner membrane of the mitochondria, which is called what? Cristae.
Yes.
So now what happens in this cristae, inner mitochondrial membrane? NADH and FADH donate high energy electrons to a chain of protein carriers So as the electron moves down the chain, energy is released to pumps proton, hydrogen ion across the membrane. So when you are talking about electron transport chain, so it has to do with what? Energy what? Energy carriers. So energy is released. So you can see that nicotinamide dinucleotide plus hydrogen. So that hydrogen, so is ions. So this creates a proton gradient like water behind a dam. So protons flow back through ATP synthase. So ATP synthase is an enzyme. So which reacts as like a molecular turbine that wind dam. You know a turbine in a dam. So generating what? ATP. So ATP synthase is the enzyme used to what? Generate ATP from what? From the proton gradient. So now oxygen acts as the final electron acceptor, combining with electron and protons to form water. So the oxygen will combine with what? With this proton. What's the meaning of this proton? Hydrogen ion. Eh?
I don't know. Yes.
So all the combining with the what? Electron and proton. So oxygen will combine with the what? With the electron and proton to form water, H2O. So the product of electron transport chain now we now form 34 ATP altogether. We know you said that NADH and FADH will denote high electron energy electron to a chain of protein carriers. So at the end of the day, we have what? After ATP synthase generates what? ATP. We have 34 ATP and we have water, which is being formed by the combination of oxygen, electron, and protons. So just know that anaerobic respiration contains three stages, which is what? Glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain. But what of link reaction or pyruvate oxidation? It's just like a link just like a reaction that link glycolysis to Krebs cycle. It's not that it is like a whole stage of the what? Of anaerobic respiration. Are you getting what I'm saying now? Of the aerobic respiration rather. So the stage is what? Glycolysis, Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle, and electron transport chain. But there's a reaction that link glycolysis to Krebs cycle, which is called what? Pyruvate oxidation, which will produce acetyl CoA that will be fuel that we use as fuel in what? Krebs cycle. So now look at the total energy yield. So aerobic respiration per one glucose molecule. So the stage the ATP produced. So glycolysis, how many ATP is being produced now? 2 ATP.
2 ATP.
So Krebs cycle, how many ATP?
2 ATP.
2 ATP. Electron transport chain, how many ATP? 34 ATP.
34
So
ATP.
if you now add them together, it will be what?
34, 36, 38 ATP.
38. So if you go back to look at the aerobic respiration, what are you going to see? Aerobic respiration equation. How many ATP are you going to see? The energy.
38 ATP.
38 ATP. So that's how we derive this 38 ATP here. So 2 from what? Glycolysis, 2 from Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle, and 34 from electron transport chain. So and 38 ATP will be released in the aerobic respiration. That shows that aerobic respiration have how many stages? TD stages.
3 stages.
Glycolysis, Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle, and electron transport chain. Do you get now? So you know that anaerobic respiration just what? Occur in 2 ways. That's lactic acid fermentation and alcoholic fermentation, which is these two. So and it happens in the absence of what? Oxygen, without oxygen. So lactic acid and ethanol will be what? Will be produced to also give energy. So let's see the comparison between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So feature aerobic respiration and aerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, oxygen is required. In anaerobic, oxygen is not required. In location of aerobic respiration, cytoplasm and what? Mitochondria. So don't forget the location of those 3 stages. The glycolysis, I think it occurs in cytoplasm, while Krebs cycle occur in the what? Mitochondrial matrix, and electron transport share occur in what? In the inner mitochondrial membrane, which is called crystal. So note that location. So anaerobic respiration occur in the cytoplasm only, while aerobic respiration can occur in the cytoplasm, so and mitochondria. So the first stage, which is glycolysis, occur in the cytoplasm, and the second and third stage occur in what? Mitochondrial matrix and inner mitochondrial membrane. I hope you understand that. So the end product of aerobic respiration is CO2 and water. Why the end product of anaerobic respiration is lactic acid in animals, or ethanol plus CO2 in what? In yeast. That's alcoholic fermentation. Are you understanding it? So ATP at the end of the day, so we have 36 to 38 ATP in what? Aerobic respiration. We have only 2 ATP in anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration here, you can see that is what? It produces small amount of energy, which is what? 2 ATP per glucose. So efficiency, aerobic respiration is higher. It has high efficiency, while aerobic respiration has low efficiency. So the byproduct of aerobic respiration is harmless. So why the anaerobic respiration, the byproduct, that is the lactic acid and ethanol plus CO2, is what? Toxic. Is alcohol toxic or not? Ethanol, alcohol is also ethanol. Is it toxic? Is toxic. So that's one. But CO2 and water produced in aerobic respiration is not toxic. It's the one that will be used by plants. To be used by plants, Abi, for photosynthesis. So, importance of anaerobic respiration. You know, we have 2 types of anaerobic respiration. It can occur in 2 ways. Lactic acid fermentation in animals, and what? And alcoholic fermentation in yeast or plants. So it provides quick energy during short bursts of activity, like sprinting. So that's when I'm talking about oxygen depth. So the body have the opportunity to switch. The body has the opportunity to switch to use anaerobic respiration. So for example, now when you are running, you might in sprinting, so like running. So when you have short burst activity, so anaerobic respiration quickly replace what? Aerobic respiration, to provide quick energy. So it is being used by microorganisms in industry also. So for brewing, ethanol in alcoholic drinks. It's used for baking. Carbon dioxide makes bread rise. So it makes bread rise using what? Bread industry. And also using what? Dairy product, milk. So lactic acid bacteria help in yogurt and cheese production. So it's called lactobacteria. So it also helps in survival in oxygen deficient environment. So the consequences of anaerobic respiration in humans. When you are running, for example now, okay, can I explain this thing in Yoruba? Maybe if you see something that is chasing you, or you are running, or you have performed vigorous exercise, you know, when you first started, you still be doing normal, but when it gets to some stages, like you'll be using some extra energy to withstand that process. Maybe when you are running, you have been gotten tired, like you have got tired to the stage that you just be forcing yourself. So when you start forcing yourself, you have switched from aerobic respiration to what? Anaerobic respiration. So you are now what? Using, and that shows that you can use there can be anaerobic respiration in humans. So that will what? Cause lactic acid accumulation in your muscle. Yorùbá will say that má lo gbogbo agbára ẹ, like ó ti lo gbogbo agbára ẹ, like gbogbo agbára ẹ means wípé like the aerobic respiration you are using before, you have exhausted it, your body now switch. For example, now you say that the importance of the anaerobic respiration is that it provide quick energy during short bursts of activity. When you are running, you are an athlete, so you are running, you are now what? Short of what? Energy. When you are using aerobic respiration, your body will switch to what? Anaerobic. Like you'll be using the one that has built up in your muscle, the lactic acid, and you have use of your muscle. So the consequence is that when you now finish, alhamdulillah, you have gotten the first position, you have run, you have used all your energy. At the end of the day, you suffer it. That's why you see some people that will went to what? You go and play ball, you go and do a vigorous exercise. When you now sleep at night, you see that you are having muscle ache, you're having. So that's what caused that muscle fatigue and cramps. So because it will build up lactic acid in your muscle. Also, oxygen depth. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So oxygen depth also. Extra oxygen is needed after exercise to oxidize lactic acid into carbon dioxide and water. So deep breathing and rest repay this oxygen depth. So when you have performed that exercise, or you are an athlete, you have run, so and you are now resting, so you are now breathing like that. Deep breathing, so it's the one you use to what? Repay the oxygen depth. Think so. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So mitochondria are double membrane organelles. I think I have the picture. I will show you. So the outer membrane is smooth, the inner membrane is folded into cristae. So that's where electron transport chain occur. So the matrix is fluid feed space containing enzyme for what? Krebs cycle. That's ATP synthesis. ETC, that's electron transport chain. Proteins are embedded in cristae. So more mitochondria are found in energy demanding cells like muscles and liver cells. So this is the summary of all what we've said. So cellular respiration breakdown of glucose to release energy in form of what? ATP. Two types, aerobic and what? Anaerobic. So aerobic is efficient and requires oxygen. Anaerobic is less efficient and what? Requires no oxygen. And aerobic respiration occurs in what?
Occurs in 4 stages.
Like a link reaction. This was just like a link reaction between what? The first two stages.
Glycolysis and Krebs
So
cycle.
glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain. So we have come to the end of respiration. Let me see if I will see the diagram to. I don't think I have it here. Okay. It's okay. Let me see. So look at it here, like this one. So crystal, this outer membrane is smooth, this inner membrane, can you see that it is curved? The inner membrane is curved. That curved part is called the cristae. So you can see the mitochondrial matrix. You can see the cristae. Mitochondrial matrix, that's where Krebs cycle occur. Inner mitochondria, which is cristae, that's where electron transport chain occur. So that's mitochondria. You can be asked to what? To fill the labeled part. So go and look at the diagram of mitochondrion very well. So we have come to the end of today's class. I hope you understand it. We have talked about external respiration, respiratory system. We have talked about cellular respiration now. She's being controlled by the mitochondrion. About aerobic and aerobic respiration, the stages. I hope you understand all what is under respiration now, both cellular respiration and external respiration, breathing in and breathing out through the lungs. So I will give you an assignment. Look at all the unicellular organisms. We know that mammals respire through the lungs. Most fishes use for respiration. I mean, amphibians can use theory. Mouth, skin. Mouth is called buccal respiration. Skin is called cutaneous respiration, and they can use lung for pulmonary respiration. Birds use lung. Mammals use lung. And reptiles also use lung. I'll go and find out what euglena, paramecium, amoeba, at least they respire. So I will tell you the one of plants. Plants can use what? Stomata. So stomata is present in what? In the leaf of a plant. And plants can also use lentil cell, which is found at the back, BARK, the back of the tree. So there is lentil cells present there. So the lentil cells can also be used in what gas exchange, stomata and lentil cells. So go and find out for all unicellular paramecium like that. Find out their even all these invertebrates, the phylum invertebrates, yeah, starting from the Nigeria, the Platyhelminths echinoblemmata, the nematoda, the go and find out. The insects use trachea system. So they have spiral pool, which contain holes. So in their trachea system, you can see spiral pool on trachea. So go and find out all the other ones. So I think maybe next class now. Let me see our next topic. Let me come. I've shouted. I'm tired now. I don't want to shout, but I later shout. I hope you shall understand upon all my shouting. So let me look at our next topic. If maybe we'll go to the next topic or we'll just do some question next class. I'm shaking. Okay, after respiration is excretion. After respiration is excretion. After excretion is reproduction, coordination and control, that's homeostasis, programs. Okay. Think let's just be firing on. So let's just be what can be doing some revision. So and I can, and since there is the video, and I can also drop some materials if use, maybe you want to use it for revision, it can be dropped in the group. So if you know that for, so that the day I'll communicate, the day we'll have, we'll solve the question and answer as we did in the last time. So I think this is okay, right? So any question before the end of the class? Any question? So if there's no question, someone wants to have a question.
Please, are we done? Salam alaikum.